So I just wanted to do something a little bit different for our Facebook viewers. And I'm very, very, very passionate about being positive, looking on the bright side of life, and always moving forward, never looking back, maybe too much sometimes. So thank you so much, Gin, for joining me today. I met Gin in December at a Christmas party, and within seconds she had me hooked. I find being around positive people, but also inspiring people that want you to grow and help and look forward, just capture me straight away. And I just want you to share with everyone else what you shared with me, because I think there's a lot of people out there that could do with your advice and help, to be honest.
What a lovely introduction.
Oh, it's emotional. Well, do you know, actually, you'll love this bit. I was reading a book, I can't remember off the top of my head, and it said, write 50 names of people that come into your mind that inspire you. And 50 is quite difficult. I found it quite difficult. And they could be famous, alive, dead, friends, whatever. And you were on my list, Gin.
Oh.
I know. So you're solution-focused therapy. And the hook is, don't look back, don't blame your past and what's happened, always move forward. Can you just explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So when I wanted to get into things around mental health and therapy, I looked at all of my options. And as a person as well as what I wanted to study, counselling and going over the past didn't really appeal to me. Now, solution focus work really appealed to me because it is about where you are now and where you want to go going forward. Mm-hmm. Now, when I say I'm solution focused, that doesn't mean I'm problem phobic. So I appreciate there's a past, it's there, it's got you to where you are now. But to keep going over and over and over that problem from maybe childhood, or even, a few years ago, like a relationship breakup or a job that went wrong, to keep going over that, I don't find beneficial. Now, you might go over it once or twice, that's understandable. But actually to me, that doesn't help you feel better. Now, if I wanted to go over stuff, I've got my friends to do that with. I don't know about you, but I know they say a problem shared is a problem halved and all that. But actually, if you want to feel better, I don't think it works. So if you want to have a vent and a rant, that's really good. And I've got friends and family I can do that with. Okay. But if I want to see a professional about feeling better and moving forward, I want to look in that direction. And that's why solution focused work just appealed to me, like I said, on a personal level as well as a professional level. Yeah. So there is a place to go over the past. I don't do it.
Yeah. Two things came into my mind then. I remember you once mentioning what is the difference? So if two people lose a parent, both equally as much love as the other, why can one person move forward easier than the other?
Yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it? And I'm talking from personal experience, and I'm talking from people I've observed, that there's no one who's watching this that has never had a bereavement, financial issues, family issues, something wrong at work. There's no one here that has never had stress. But why do some people cope and some people don't? Yeah. You can't say that the people who have good mental health have lived a fairy tale life, because they haven't. They've just got this resilience. They've got something in them that keeps pushing them forward. And then sometimes we have people with smaller problems, I might say, but little things going on. Like, I know people that have lost both parents straight away. They maybe had a sibling that's died. They're struggling at work, but somehow they keep going. And other people, that do, we've all, and the natural order of things is our parents going, but I know people that have had, children that have died.
Yeah.
But that somehow they just keep going. And I believe we should be studying those people.
Yeah.
I
had a neighbour that basically lost 3 of her children and her husband.
Wow.
In the space of, I don't know, it was about 8 years. And she's still around and like a big part of the community. And I'm absolutely gobsmacked.
Yeah.
Don't know how she keeps going, but she does.
That's it. They're the people we need to talk to.
Yeah.
So mental health awareness is great. We're talking about anxiety, we're talking about depression, we're talking about panic disorders and phobias. That's great.
Yeah.
But the time for talking is done. So we know all about that, but you know, we need to move forward with it. Yeah. What do we want to do to feel better? And that's where I believe we should study people like your neighbour.
Yeah.
What have they got?
And I think as well, from personal experience, this is not as dramatic as, you know, losing somebody. But I remember years ago I got deported from Australia, and I was very much in love. I didn't no illegal goings on or anything, but I was very much in love and got deported. And I came home and I was like sad for a year. And I went over in my head every day and every night of if I could just get back, and I almost visualized seeing them in the distance all the time, every day. And it was like I wanted to be there in that moment, so I created it in my head. So it was almost I wanted to be sad, I wanted to be there, and so it's almost changing that mindset, isn't it, of, well, you're not there, so you need to move on, sort of thing. But I didn't want to.
That's the process of grief. Okay. Grief is still a positive emotion. So if you had come back to Australia, and this applies to if you've lost someone, if you came back from Australia and you didn't feel anything, that means that relationship didn't mean anything. So you were sad because you came back, because you were apart from that person. Yeah. You're allowed to feel sad. So when I say being solution focused, doesn't mean ignore those emotions. But you needed to go through that process of grief. And actually, if you really wanted to go back, or you wanted to be together, you would have found a way. And so at that time, if you wanted to visualize that would have happened. And say, right, how can I, but you needed to do that from a calm place, not an emotional place. So if you were coming at it purely through grief, then you weren't using your intelligent resource to say, right, what can I do to get that relationship back?
Can I just say, in case Mark watches this, I'm very happy with Mark, 10-year relationship. It's a long time ago.
Yeah. And that's it. You know, you moved on, so you got through that period of grief. And it's also something you remember, isn't it? Remember in a way that I got through that. That is something that happened in my life, but you're not getting over it and over it.
All right. He's been shopping.
The devil.
He's been shopping before he has to wear a mask.
Ah, right. Oh, yes.
He's like, I'm going to buy 4 months of shopping. I was like, right then.
Okay. Off you go then.
Yeah. Great. Well, thanks very much for that, Gin. I just want to finish off perhaps with one question. If there are people out there that are completely stuck in a rut and in a dark place, what advice would you give them to get them started on their new journey?
I would ask those people, are you ready to change? Do you want to feel better? And if you do want to feel better, what does that look like? And focus on that. You've spent a lot of time in that rut going over the negatives. But one question I ask a lot of my potential clients in a phone call is, are you ready to change? And if I had a magic wand and you didn't have this problem, what would your life look like? What would you be doing? How would you be interacting with your friends and your family? How would you feel? Would your health be affected? Would you be healthier physically? Would you be healthier mentally? Focusing on that, because that is possible. When people get stuck in a rut, you're going over the negatives so much that no one has ever asked you, well, what would you like instead? What do you want to happen? What would be a good thing? How would you be interacting with your children? What example would you be setting, for example? So if you really want to feel better, focus on that. That if I had a magic wand, and I don't, but you do have one up here, it's called the brain, and it's really powerful, that magic wand can turn things around. You've got to want it.
Yeah, I guess that's like what you think of, you get more of. So amazing. Great. Well, exactly. Hopefully you've changed some lives in this little mini meeting. And
that would be magic in a few minutes.
Well, I met you, and after 5 minutes I was hooked. So I had a few gins as well.
Well, no, it might have been a different type of gin.
No, it was early in the night. Early in the night. It's fine. So amazing. Thanks a lot, Gin. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.